Hi, I'm Andrew with Ether Automation, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a quoting tool in Zoho CRM and Creator for those businesses that don't use products to sell. So let's imagine you have a concrete company, right? And you pour concrete and your pricing is a little complicated because yes, you have materials, but also depending on the type of concrete and the finishing of the concrete and the layouts of the area and how much of that area you need to do, you're going to price it a little differently. You know, if this is a big project, you may have a day rate. If this is a smaller project, it may be done per the hour. So this kind of stuff typically doesn't work in Zoho CRM because they have products for quotes. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go through a example where we're going to create an app in Creator, and then we're going to add the logic to Creator, and then we're going to have that information go back into CRM. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Hopefully this is the right screen. Otherwise, this will be a short video. Okay, so I'm in Zoho CRM in a deal right now. Right now we're in the quote stage, and so this is where you'd want there to be quotes. So if you're going to make quotes, you normally go to create a related record. You'd scroll down and you'd start adding products. But again, this is problematic because that relies on an expert, your expert quoter to know exactly how we price out per square foot or per grade of concrete or that kind of thing. So instead of doing it that way, what we want to have happen is a little button up here in this dropdown that says something like create quote, right? And when you click that, it's going to go to Zoho Creator and pre-fill a bunch of things. So let's start by creating a Creator application. Create a solution, and we'll call this quoting tool. It's very simple. So let's start out by creating a form. And we're going to create that from scratch. We're going to call it quote form. Create form. Great. So a lot of this is dependent on your business logic. So in our case, we're going to look at a few different scenarios. What kind of fields you're going to need in this Creator app. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to add logic to this Creator app so that it prices it accordingly. But for this one, let's just imagine we're creating the inputs to create a quote. So the first thing we're going to want to do is start with a single line field. And the reason we want to do that is we want to relate this quote back to this deal. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to call this deal ID, right? And we're going to show this field to admin only. Let's keep it on everyone, and then later on in this video, I'll hide it programmatically. So this is called the deal ID, right? We're going to hide this one. So the second thing we want to do is we want to have a deal name, right? And this one is going to be shown to your employees so that they know what deal this is for. Did we do the right deal here? Did it pull the right thing up for you? And then after that, we want to start adding the fields that are going to determine the pricing model. So let's start with a drop down, right? So let's go concrete grade. And I don't know anything about concrete. In fact, I'm pretty sure this isn't how you spell concrete. But let's call this concrete rocky, this one blended, and this one smooth, right? Then we're going to want another drop-down field for the finishing, right? Which is, we'll say it's either aggregate, or it's smooth. Again, I don't know anything about concrete. So now that we have our two grades, let's imagine the next step here is something like a square footage. So let's pull in a number. Square feet. So now we have the square feet. Then finally, I'm going to add a section, add section, and we're going to call this the pricing. Pricing. And within that, we're going to show 3 fields, which is the total, the subtotal, and the taxes. So we're going to go down here. We are going to look for a currency field. We're going to call this the subtotal. This one is the taxes. And this one is the total. So now I'm going to click done, and I can access this application. And here we have, some standard information. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. We're going to go back to our deal. I'm going to click this drop down. I'm going to click create button. And we're going to call this create quotes. This is on the view page. We're going to open a web tab. We're not going to do that. We're going to write a function, call it open quotes tool, open quotes tool. We're going to create some arguments. Of course, our classic ID. We're going to pull in the deal ID. This is always the only argument you should use. URL equals. Then we want to add the deal ID in the parameters. So we want to have this deal ID. We want to have that pre-filled. So then URL equals URL plus question mark deal underscore ID equals plus ID. And then finally, we want to open the URL. And the window type, let's call it a new window. And I can save and execute. I just need to add this semicolon here. Save and execute. Great. So now I'm going to save this. So now I can click create quotes. And it's going to open a deal ID with this pre-filled. Now, again, this is actually just so the next stage, when you submit this quote, it goes back to the right deal. So what we're going to do very quickly here is we're going to go and make a workflow, create workflow, quote form on create or edit. On load of the form, we're going to call this hide some fields, hide deal ID. And then the other one we want is disable the deal name. So now when I go back to this page, if I refresh, it's hid the deal ID, and then the deal name will be in there programmatically. So let's go back to our button. Let's click manage buttons. Let's go to create a quote, click edit, edit function. Deal equals zoho.crm.get record by ID, deal and ID. And then URL equals URL plus deal underscore name equals plus deal dot get. And I don't remember the variable name, so we're going to go to settings, API, API names, deals, and look for name. It's called deal underscore name. We can see it right here. So let's put deal underscore name right there. So now when I go back to the deal, and I click that button right here to create a quote, demo deal shows up right here. And then the deal ID is there in the background so that once it's submitted, it goes back into CRM. In our next video, I'll show you how to add the logic to this page. And in the video after that, I'll show you how to integrate it back into Zoho CRM. I'll see you in the next video.